Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to stay updated. Thanks for your support. This time is different. This is the new economy. We're just coming out of the longest bull run in history, 11 years. It started in 2011, and in 2011, I made the biggest fortunes of my life, because that was the collapse of mortgage-backed securities, MBS, and CDOs. The housing market crashed, and I loaded up the truck. I borrowed $300 million to buy the best real estate across the Southwest. This is the biggest, longest bull market in history. And I see a lot of these young guys, and I have some Bitcoin, I have some Ethereum, but they all say the same thing. This time is different, and Bitcoin crashed. And, the Federal Reserve, I can't believe it. I mean, people say, don't fight the Fed and all that. Well, my question for everyone is this. Can the Fed print oil? Can the Fed print gas? I mean, gasoline? Can it print food? But everyone's just sitting there, brainwashed by Wall Street into doing what the Fed says. Come on, are you kidding me? Those guys are Trump and Powell. Come on, are you joking? Why should you listen to them? Volcker said he'd crush inflation, so he raised interest rates. Right? So now Powell is channeling Volcker's spirit. And, when Volcker crushed inflation, debt to GDP was at 30%. Today it's at 125% if you believe the numbers. So if he's channeling Volcker, another thing history will tell you is this. There's never been a soft landing. It's all just Fed talk. I've made more money in the last 3 years than in my entire life. So what I want to talk to you about today is that there are other ways to look at investing. But thinking Powell will save you. As you may know, the reverse repo market today is running at $2 trillion a day. $2 trillion a day? $2 trillion a day. And people listen to Powell? Come on, are you kidding me? I don't own stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. I don't touch paper. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I think people have been brainwashed by the Fed, the Treasury, and whoever those guys are. Go to school, get a job, pay taxes, get a high-paying job, and invest long-term in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. That's why we went to school. We did what we were told. Don't fight the Fed. Do what the Fed says. Invest long-term in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. And don't worry, Powell is channeling Volcker. When debt to GDP is at 125%, come on, are you kidding me? So when they cut interest rates, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven because I was buying apartment complexes. I own 13,000 apartments. Every time the Fed cut rates, the value of my properties skyrocketed, but I also improved the properties and refinanced. So today, I don't owe a penny on any of my properties. 13,000 units, all cash flowing. In a bull market, even idiots feel smart. I listen to all these idiots. After 2002/2011, the market crashed in 2008 because the repo market blew up, and the repo market was the credit. Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns credit was garbage, and so they hammered it. Anyway, it's a long story. My friends are all in that world. But then when it came back, they started pumping money. Just like you said about Christine Lagarde, they started lying. And what they did was print even more money to save an already failing economy. It was already crashing again in 2002/2011, but they just kept printing money. And today, we're paying the price. I use debt because debt is tax-free money. So what I did was renovate my apartments, 13,000, and I kept buying more with cash flow, and I refinanced when rates dropped. So now I'm set. Then I locked in all my interest rates. So I use debt. And who's that guy who says, live debt-free? Well, that's his opinion. I don't. I don't sell houses. Remember all those guys who flipped houses? Everyone was doing it. They were stupid. Stupid. The minute you sell, you have tax consequences. I never sell. I refinance. It's tax-free money. And not only that, when I started investing, I had to do it at 12% rates. I love debt, and I don't pay taxes. Because every time I borrow more money for my properties, there are three types of tax benefits: appreciation, depreciation, and amortization. So I zero it all out. I drill for oil. Today, there are more opportunities than ever, but not if you've been brainwashed into go to school, get a job, pay taxes, live debt-free, and invest in the stock market.